one verse, but we're going to dissect this and just see what God has to say to us. The title of the message, Am I a Wholehearted Christian? Now, when I talk about this tonight, it's really about self-evaluating, okay? And I'm going to be really honest. We all fall short in different areas in our life of what we can commit to God. The heart of this is to say, okay, I need a little bit more work here. You know, like how Grandma was saying, we got to the place where we can just be doing things, repetitious, but let's do things the best we can. To worship. When we worship, we give our best. I sing up, I don't care if I flat. And if I crack, that's not for you, I'm cracking for Jesus. You know what I mean? If I sing off note, that's not for you, that's for Jesus, The last time I read scripture, the Lord says that my voice, my worship is beautiful music to Him. I believe it. So tonight, I don't want anybody to leave discouraged. I want people to be encouraged to realize that God loves us too much to allow us to remain the same or allow us to fool ourselves that our relationship is good when it's not. He wants a healthy relationship, a true relationship. And I love that about the Lord, because I don't know about you, but I really mess up things in my relationship with the Lord sometimes, because I can be selfish. Yeah? I like my own way, I like to give attitudes. Some days I just wake up cranky, and I pray and everything, but I just want to be cranky today, and I got to pray, and the Lord says, you was really cranky today. I know it took a couple hours to gather the crankiness, and stuff like that. But I think when we come to the church setting, many of us may find out something we wouldn't want to admit concerning our relationship with the Lord. Right? Because we're worried about being judged. If you love the Lord, then why do you act like that? If you love the Lord, then why you look like that? Why you dress like that? Why you this and why you that? And, when everybody presents that type of question to you guys, I want you guys to let it go in one year and go out the other year, as long as you know that what you're doing is the best you have for God. Some people like to come to church all dressed up, and some people go, we lay back at this church. Hey, none of your business. They want to dress up for Jesus, then let them dress up. If you feel comfortable in shorts, and you know what? Another person goes, look at the person in shorts. Hey, mind your business. They're coming into the house of the Lord the best they feel, and the Lord says, I am blessed with that. Does that make sense? So, tonight's message, gang, is not a bashing, okay? It's about evaluating, being honest. Because in order to have a healthy relationship, we need to recognize errors we need to fix. Does that make sense? Okay. So, and really, I don't believe God wants to bash us, Because if He wanted to, He could have not had sent Jesus. But He says, I love you so much that I sent Jesus, right? John 3:17. Not so that we are condemned, right? But so that we have a way to Him. He knows He is messed up. So awesome. So, now, I'm going to read the text, and there's 4 questions that we're going to ask ourselves. And, I don't want us to go home and just go answer real quick. Okay, I'm going to get them over with, and I don't need to do anything for the rest of the week, right? No. Think about it. That first question, if you can really honestly answer that with a really full answer, meaning all of you then skip, go ahead to the next question. But don't go just because, okay, yeah, Paul, you go to many churches, you go, you answer your questions, yeah, but they're all fake. You know what I mean? You guys ever had the kind where you guys answer questions, you guys just answer them so the thing is answered, but you don't really take heart about it, into it. Okay, Proverbs 23:26. Oh my son, give me your heart. May your eyes take delight in following my ways. Really simple. 4 questions out of that. We could have had more, but then we would be here longer than we should. You're going to be all complaining. So 4 questions. The first question is, have we given God all of us? Now, this is what the Proverbs is asking here. It's saying, have we given God our hearts? We hear this word a lot. It's very repetitious in the Bible. Yeah, I mean, how many of you guys hear heart, 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 heart? And so, anything that we tend to read too much, right? Or even like a song. You guys remember one of your favorite songs that's no longer your favorite because they play them too much on the radio, right? I get a lot of songs I love, but when they play them over and over, it's like, oh man, I hate that song. Well, in the Bible it says, give your heart, surrender your heart. We keep going, and we lose the meaning of what God is trying to get across to us. The word heart in Scripture is speaking about the physical, the soul, and the spiritual. It consists of our feelings, our desires, our passions, and our thoughts. It's all of us. Everything that we make up, that makes us. So, it's everything. It's that one part of you, it's a part of you that, when you sit down and you go, man, this is the real me. Right? And very seldom we ever share the real us with anybody. Right? Because we're afraid that we might get hurt. We are vulnerable. So we only give half of us or some of us, but never all of us. The great example I know of is in a relationship when you're husband and wife. In order for the marriage to survive, you really got to get to the point where you give everything. Right? Because when you're at that point and you become vulnerable and you both are vulnerable to each other, then there's a sense of security in that relationship that's really crazy. You're not threatened anymore, but you feel protected to share your weaknesses. And by doing that, you actually become strong. There's a strength in that. Well, it's so different with the Lord. People go, oh yeah, I pray all the time, and I talk to Him, and we hang out, and yeah, I understand that. I know a lot of people do that. Right? According to Scripture, a third of the angels and Satan did that until they decided to do their own thing and they got kicked out of heaven. See, it's a constant action. We have to constantly do this. When you're angry, right? You can either pout and be angry around the house and give stink eye and do whatever and allow it to escalate. Or you can say, you made me mad. Don't do that again, right? And another person responds and says, what's your problem? Yeah, so you have this discussion. People call them arguments. No, it's your opinion, and it may be very strongly suggested, but you're not ashamed to say, you hurt me, or I didn't like that. Stop it, right? And the other person, will get offended, of course. Wow, sensitive today, huh? But giving time to think about it was, maybe there was, right? So I better say sorry. Does it make sense? You guys still with me? Yeah. If you're still with me, that means you're still married, okay? So the Lord wants the same type of relationship, and it's not easy, right? It takes constant work, right? You wake up ugly, you gotta make, space for their ugliness until they get it all together, right? And stuff like that. And so the Lord is saying, I want you to give all of me. I want not just part, I want all of it, because I don't want part of your heart, I want your whole heart. Yeah? Too many Christians only giving the Lord part of their heart. And then they wonder why their lives is kind of like this. Now, don't get me wrong. According to Scripture, it says that we will deal with trials and tribulations. That means we're going to have rough times. But when your heart has been surrendered to the Lord fully, even in the rough times, you know everything is going to be okay. Does that make sense? Right? That's why they call us Christians crazy when we have everyone brutal, and instead of crying, we celebrate. The reason why we celebrate, why? Because we needed going to heaven. They just have beat us there. One of the things that, Uncle Bob, he really got me on this when he was going through his cancer. And we was hanging out with him, and we really didn't know the outcome yet. And so, you don't want to talk about that stuff, right? And then he goes, hey, if I die, I forget how he said, but basically he turned around and he goes, sucker, I just beat you to heaven. And I was like, I don't know how to, I was like, you shouldn't talk like that, kind of stuff. And he goes, No, I know, I'm so confident that no matter if God wants me to stay here or He take me home, I'm blessed. And that confidence really just blessed me to remind me that even in the rough times, we need to remember who we serve. You see, and only a heart that has surrendered to God completely can rest in the peace of God. Does that make sense? You don't want to sugar Buddha stuff. It is, and to my God's name be glorified. Right? Psalms 119 says this, verse 2. Joyful are those who obey His law and search for Him with all their hearts. Now, this is really crazy because what this is giving us is a promise. He says, I promise you, those who search for me and give me their hearts, they will be filled with joy. I cannot begin to tell you how happy I am. I'm at this place where, I'm like, okay, Lord, that sucks doing this and doing that, but you know what? The bottom line is I'm blessed. And so however you want this to unfold, Lord, however my life is going to be like, I surrender. I remember this. It's so crazy. I never understood it till a few years ago. When I came to the Lord, I remember putting my hands on the TV. It was at Hope Chapel Kapolei, and hiding in the KK room because I didn't want to do the church stuff. So it was in this KK lounge, and the pastor was preaching, and I put my hands on the TV, and I received Jesus that day. It doesn't mean that I surrendered all of me. I knew I loved Him. I knew something was going crazy on the inside of me. And so, I was crying and everything, but I still didn't want to do church stuff. Church stuff was like, they're saying, oh, you don't need church to be saved. You don't need church to be saved. You need church to be accountable. Okay? Just so everybody know. And so, I remember that day when I put my hand on the TV and I said, God, I give you all of me. Everything that I have is yours, Lord. And however you use me. Right? I was so passionate. And then my life started getting rough, those rough times. I was like, Lord, what are you doing? You said you would protect me. You said you love me, right? And I said, oh man, this is like, you don't love me. All this is happening to me. My greatest, challenge was when my mom passed away. I was so angry at God. I mean, I said things and yelled, and I just was so angry 3 days. I just would drive up and down and just so angry at God and called Him a liar. And you said He's going to take care of me. I just started to come back to You and love You. And so why you take my mom? And all that stuff. And I remember one day just sitting down praying. I just kind of had this good cry. Just one day it was. Sometimes you cry one day. I was a big baby. It took me 3 days. And I was down at the beach in my house, Maku actually, and I just started falling apart again, and then it felt like God just put His Spirit on me, and He says, I didn't cause your mom to die. And so I started to think about all the different things that happened in my mom's life, ailments and all that stuff, and her lifestyle, and all what led to what happened. And I realized that, my mom passed away because of neglect of her taking care of herself. But, sometimes we want God to change the world according to the way we feel it should be changed. And we're not listening to what He says. According to Scripture, all men must die once. And if He comes and none of us have died yet, the physical will pass and the new shall rise. So Scripture must be fulfilled. Right? And I don't think I want to live 300 years old and, all wrinkly and bony and, people got to take care of me. Forget that, But started to think about that today, and I realized, oh Lord, You are very wise. And that day my whole life changed when it comes to bad things happening. I realized we live in a world that's deteriorating. How can I change that? We mentioned that before. Well, realize that this promise that God writes in the Bible is for everybody who surrenders everything to Him. Because if you give me all your heart, I promise to feed you with joy. And I was like, how is that possible? Yeah? Because we got to deal with troubles, with death. And when we realize who God is, inner being, with all that we have, we realize that He is the answer to all things. My mom passed away, but I'm going to meet her again in heaven. My dad passed away, we're going to meet him in heaven. My grandma, and about the guys who didn't do it right, that's not my business. Because I don't know what their heart's towards God. Remember, the Bible says, the person can just say, Lord, I am sorry, forgive me, and die the next second. And guess what? All his sin is released from him, and he's now righteous in the presence of God. Does that make sense? Right? And so, I look at the good plan that God has. The Lord says, nothing happens to you by accident. Well, when stuff happens, He goes, well, when those bad things happen, I'll take that and I'll strengthen your faith. Because you need to realize that we are called to be soldiers of the kingdom of God. We are the ones that are put on this earth at this time. For such a time as this, we are the ones that are to tear down the gates of hell. If somebody is struggling with something in their marriage, somebody's struggling with something in their health, we're supposed to come before them and share with them the heart of God and release the strength of God. Now, tearing down the gates of hell isn't necessarily beating up the devil all the time. He's got them beaten up already. The war has been won. Tearing down the gates of hell is not allowing a person to allow their minds to give the devil any credit for anything in their life. Right? You guys are still with me? That means, you know what? I am here to tell you that God loves you, and regardless of what's happening, God has a plan for you. I don't know how it's going to unfold. I don't maybe understand everything you're going through. But if you let God take care of you, you let God carry you, you will become victorious. You will be like you have never been before, a soldier ready for the battle. You see, a lot of times we think we come to church and we just come here to worship and praise. That's just one part of the big factor. We are called to be warriors. You have no idea the authority that God has placed on you, that you are allowed to speak the name of His Son, and demons, they run. They run. The problem is too many Christians don't understand that the demon whistles and the Christian run. Backwards. Too much movies. You have no idea the authority that is placed on the one that has surrendered to the Lord. Think about it. You read the Bible. How many times do we read the Bible and we read like, wow, this guy healed that person. Oh, that guy stood up and walked. He was paralyzed and, dead and everything. It's like, why can't that happen to me? Well, I want to ask you something. Are you sold out that Jesus Christ is the Son of God? Are you willing to say, Lord, have all of me, and when times get rough, still trust that God has you in His hands? Now, we're not supposed to heal everybody. I remember when I became a Christian, I was going to go to the hospital and heal everybody in the hospital. That was my will. That wasn't God's will. But here's the thing. We got to have the excitement in the heart to pray for anybody and against anything that isn't part of the kingdom. Does that make sense? And so the more we understand the Lord, the more we surrender our hearts to Him, the more we understand the will of God. See, that's the secret. When we pray according to the will of God, right, things will start to unfold. But how many of us pray like this? Lord, bless my family, and then nothing's wrong with that. According to the will of God, that's His heart. Right? And then we start getting kind of selfish in our prayer. We don't realize it, but Lord, let me have a good day because I'm tired. Yeah? Now, I kind of heard that prayer before. It was in the Garden of Gethsemane when the Lord says, Lord, Father, take this away from me because I don't think I can bear it. But then the Lord comes back with, Father, forgive me because I kind of got selfish over there. Give me the strength to endure what I have to endure, that your name will be glorified. Kind of stick with me, we kind of close. You see where I'm at? You see, we tend, without realizing, to get selfish in our prayer. We're not praying for the will of God. We pray for our will, and we are expecting God to answer. Does that make sense? Yeah? I bet you guys pray. You guys will watch it. You guys pray. Yeah? Good. It's supposed to be that. It's all about glorifying Him, and Lord, teach me your will. Right? Teach me your will. The story that I read was really cool about a woman who always wore this locket, gold locket, and no one was allowed to open it. The friends would ask her about it, and let's look at it, open it. She wouldn't open it for nobody, and everybody kind of wondered. It must have been like a romance thing, something. Her heart was broken or something. And so they would all come up with this conclusion, right? You're coming up with some of your own right now after I told you that. Like, I wonder what it was, right? Well, the story goes on to say that this woman died at a very young age. And when she died, they opened the locket. And when they opened the locket, inside of the locket, they found a piece of paper. And on the piece of paper was written, "Whom I have not seen, I love." And the crazy thing was, if you know Scripture, you know that she's speaking about Scripture. She's speaking about Jesus. And so her Lord, Jesus, was the only lover she knew and the only one she longed for. And I wonder how many of us have that gold locket in our hearts that is there just for Him. Nobody can tamper with that. That belongs to my God. That is what the Lord is saying to us. He goes, I want your heart sealed for me. 1 Timothy 1:8-9. You have loved even though you have never seen Him. Though you do not see Him now, you trust Him and you rejoice in the glorious and His grace of joy. The reward for trusting Him will be the salvation of your soul.
Is it Timothy or Peter?
Huh?
Is it Timothy or Peter? You said Timothy. First Peter.
I don't know. I thought I would put 1 Peter. I'm sorry, I was at the bowling alley. What, something different?
You said Timothy. You said Timothy.
Oh, I said Timothy. I think that was last week's one, huh? I gave you guys the wrong one last week. It's supposed to be 2 Timothy, you guys got 1 Timothy. How many of you guys was kind of messed up at being in church? Okay. It was only one person, that means you guys never even read you guys stuff. What you guys, they'll check up on me. I might be post-prophet to be on me and no trip. Okay. 1 Peter, P-E-T-E-R 1:8-9. You love Him even though you have never seen Him. Though you do not see Him now, you trust Him and you rejoice with a glorious and inexpressible joy. The reward for trusting Him will be the salvation of your soul. Does that make sense? When you read that, it makes sense. It's telling us that even though we have not seen Him, right, we love Him. And again, this love for Him brings this joy that is beyond measure. And it goes, because you trust Him, heaven is your destination. How cool is that? Right? To be honest, too many Christians approach God half-heartedly with only a little desire for Him, or just half-heartedly wanting to hang around God and just kind of get the little gems and run off and say they okay, they check in, they did we treat this like work, right? Punch the clock. Well, it's gonna take a relationship. This is what I want you guys to remember this now. Perfection doesn't save us. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But relation saves us, right? Relationship. I know Jesus, I'm in love with Jesus, I want to be with Jesus. Right? Because if perfection was the requirement, we all fail. None of us are perfect. So, It's all about, are we giving God our hearts? The second question we need to ask ourselves is, are we determined to live pleasing lives? Psalms 119, 2-3, we read verse 2 earlier. It says, joyful are those who obey His law with all their hearts. They do not compromise with evil, and they walk only in His path. Now, experiencing a life-changing faith depends on a close relationship with God and a desire to please Him above all. Above everything else in your life. Do we have this heart that is seeking out to please God? Right? Are we excited to take every moment we have to give God what He deserves? How many of you guys go out of your way to please God? Sometimes you, sometimes not. That's not too bad, because in a marriage we don't always go out to please our spouse, right? Sometimes we like to plot and just kind of see, how much they love us and how much they give up and all that stuff. Well, I want you guys to understand this, because the Lord is saying to us, a wholehearted believer isn't an off and on again person or relationship. It's a life that is consistent with confessing or even professing their faith to the world within you. It's a constant showing. We know that the Lord is pleased by our obedience, right? To come to church, to tithe, to pray for your enemies. How many of you guys pray for your enemies? I pray for my enemies. At work, I pray for my work people. I don't like to all the time. Honestly, I'm just going to be honest. I don't like to pray for them all the time. And sometimes I like to pray for them, but like in a bad way. And so I got to surrender my heart to the Lord and say, Lord, I know that that's not your heart. That's my heart. Because here's the thing. I've read the scripture, and you know what? You don't want to deal with God. Right? And I don't want, as much as they may not like my enemies, and part of me want them to get destroyed, I don't want the wrath of God to fall on them. I've read what the power of God is like. It is not nice. And so, I always pray that the Lord will save them. I always pray this, I'll be very honest, and let somebody else do the work. Let me just be able to be nice, but let somebody else preach to them. And the Lord says, I just ask you to be nice. That's part of the preaching. And then I don't want to do it. You know what I mean? You ever thought like, well, that's the case, I don't want to do it. We kind of think we got one in God. Stop trying. If we don't train ourselves to be disciplined in our hearts to live for God and to please Him, we are setting ourselves up for failure. There's a story in the Bible that I really, really love, and it's a really scary story actually, from riches to rags, if you would. How many of you guys remember Solomon? Yeah, David's son. He became king. The Lord was pleased with his heart, and the Lord said to him, ask of me anything, and I will grant it to you. And so Solomon then asked the Lord for wisdom to lead his people. Crazy, right? Because, if we're going to be honest, and just, I'm going to answer the question, but if you had this wonderful privilege to ask anything of God and receive it, you're kind of be thinking like, oh, money, the kind of fame, all the stuff that the world is all stuck on. But Solomon says, Lord, give me the wisdom needed to lead your people in your ways. What an awesome guy, right? The Lord says, you just make my heart crazy. I'll give you wisdom, fame, and riches. Because your heart is right. Well, this guy who the Lord has wonderfully given the privilege to choose a blessing or a gift from him, started in his later years to really get messed up. He had too many wives, concubines, and instead of staying fast in his faith, he would end up following the wife's pagan teaching or faith. And so eventually what happened was Solomon was pretty much just destroyed. It's a sad story. It's a scary story because it tells us as Christians that we are blessed by God when we recognize who Jesus Christ is and we surrender our hearts. But if we should ever come against him and say we deny him or start to lead our own life not trusting him, then what we do is we push him aside and we release the blessing. This is why it's important to understand this again. Once saved, always saved isn't true. You're saved by your relationship with Jesus. And anytime you throw that relationship out, you throw your salvation out. Does that make sense? People don't like to hear that. They get scared. But it's important for us to understand that we are not by any means capable of saving ourselves. It is through the blood of Jesus Christ and acknowledging him. Now, Solomon, he ends up doing all this pagan worship with his wives and all this stuff, and soon enough found himself far away from God. You know, you read a story up on him, you'll find that they will say that he's the wisest man ever on earth, and the foolish man also that has ever existed. To have been blessed and know what God has called him to be and do, and then because of not being obedient, not having a heart wanting to please God, found himself away from God. You know, I'm going to be very honest with you guys. It's not my second rodeo coming back to God. I've walked away from God before. And it was because I got hurt in the church. I was like, how can the church claim to be so in love with the Lord, yet get people in there that hurt you? Something is wrong. Well, this is why I always say to everybody, the church is just a hospital of sick people. And we all need Jesus. It doesn't give anybody any right to be ignorant or foolish. We need to correct that. Okay, when something bad is said, something not right said, we get on it. And that's why people don't like the smaller churches, because we waste no time jumping on it. You don't have time to think about this. Oh, I wonder. No. We are coming and telling you, you should wonder, you better go fix that right now. That wasn't cool. Right? And people don't like that. But the hard about this is it's accountability. We love God too much so that any of us be fooled that we know it all. That's why we need to be lifetime learners. You know, anytime we think we know it all, we're not going to hear the word of God anymore. You know, we got to read, and we always read with the intent of what are you trying to teach me today, Lord? But I read it 1,000 times. But what is the 1,000-time lesson that I have today? Right? So, Solomon really messed up, and if we're not careful, and we don't work and teach ourselves to be obedient in the ways of the Lord, we're going to drift away. Like I said, I drifted away before. This time around, I am so blessed that God saw favor in me that I was able to get off the street of drugs and alcohol and find my path back to Him. I don't think if I found my way, I would be here today. I was really in some stupid stuff. You know, but God is good. And I'm so grateful that I had people praying for me while I was in my down stage. You know, 1 Kings 11:4 says this: in Solomon's old age, they turned his heart to worship other gods instead of being completely faithful to the Lord his God, as his father David had been. So here is telling us that, you know, at this old age, Solomon lost it. And we need to be careful now. That's why like when I say, when you come, no offense if you're running late. But if you're running late every church service, something wrong, yeah? It's called laziness. It's called complacent. It's called planning. Right? That I don't need to be there for worship. I can just get there when they worship. Because even after the worship, you have to tell everybody hi. That's what we do. But the part of worship is so important. Why? Because that's when we come before God's throne and we just let everything go. Right? I had a rough week today, this week. And so when I was worshiping, and I pray and I ask the Lord to just take me out and let my spirit rejoice. And actually, I'm like crying and I'm worshiping. I'm not sad. I'm so happy that God loves me. And I could care less if anybody was looking or my voice cracking. I don't care. Because it's not for anybody else but me. I want God to hear me sing. And what happens is as I open up my heart like that, when the time to do the message or hear a message, I'm ready to hear him speak. I don't hear the person speaking. You believe this or not, Rambo think, what he said about being nervous? I am terrified every time I come up here. I am. Everybody thinks it's all cool and all. No, it takes a while. I need to really get into the zone down there and say, Lord, it's all about you. Because when I come up here, it's hard. Looking at you guys, and some of you guys get this look like, or someone like my wife will say, he said 1 Timothy, not Peter. Let it slide, you know what I mean? No, bring them out in front of everybody. Yeah, it's all cool. But it's not easy standing in front of people, right? Or speaking about the Lord to people, because when you're standing here, all you can think is, if you was there, what you would be thinking. Alright? Oh, why do you need that? Oh, why do you say that? Why do you come that way? Blah, blah, blah. Right? We're so judgmental in our mind. But when you come to worship, and you're worshiping the Lord, that when the message is being said, you're not listening or watching for mistakes. You're like this. Where are you, Jesus? Where you stand? I got that. Yes, thank you. Right? You never hear 1 Timothy. You heard 1 Peter. Right? Awful body though. God is so good. But you guys get my point? Yeah? This is a warning to all of us. Anything less than all of us, we again set ourselves up for failure in our relationship with Jesus. The third question is, are we really obedient to God? Living a clean life, being a good person according to man's standards. You don't got to be a Christian to live that way, yeah? But the mark of a true believer is a person who listens to the commandments of God. Now, Psalms 119:69, arrogant people smear me with lies, but in truth I obey your commandments with all my heart. This is talking about people are going to say stuff. People are nasty. You are nasty. Right? I am nasty. That's why I need Jesus. Right? And another saying is that, you know what? I find peace in my obedience to the commandment of the Lord. Why? Because like I said earlier, if I pray for my enemies, I'm keeping my heart tender. Because if I keep praying for my enemies in a way that they would die, the more I pray that way, the more I meditate on that, the more I want them to be dead. And the more I start to get my heart really hard, that just the sight of them, I see blood. Anybody ever, you guys know what I'm talking about? Yeah? Nasty stuff, right? So the Lord is telling me, listen to my commandments. Obey my commandments. The reason for my commandments is to keep you right before me. Don't worry about those guys who are doing wrong. They'll be accountable for their actions. But you, I love you too much to let you stray. So I'm giving you some rules and regulations to follow that keeps you within my covering. And when you read what God is asking of, it's not much. Right? Pray for your enemies. The heart behind that is, don't hate. Don't speak evil. Keep your heart right with me. Because I don't want to live in a dirty house. I don't want to live in a house where profanity is flowing all over the place. I don't want to live in a house where, arrogance resides. I don't want to live there. My house is clean. It's about love. And according to John 3:16 and 17, this love supersedes everybody's wrong. So, I'm not saying that you have to put up with people's stupidity and ignorance. All I'm saying is just keep your hearts. If it's not right, make it right. And sometimes you just need to be away. But isn't it funny? We're not like that. Why? Because I'm mad. Like look at me, I will sit right in front of you. Right? And I'm going to look at you. Why? Because I know you don't like me to look at you. Stupid. I had a stupid moment like that this week. The guy at work was irritating me, so I was like, well, I'm going to sit in front of you and just face him. Funny, I'm preaching and it's in the spill out, yeah? You got to pray for me. So I was sitting out there. And the stupid part about me was like, I'm like, Lord, I know I'm not supposed to be doing this, but right now it feels really good. And I go, but you're making it really, really jump. Because I'm actually enjoying this, right? And I know I irritated this person because this person's like, they start doing all like ants in their pants kind of stuff. Oh, I'm getting to that person. I just look, yes. And so, what happens now, of course, that's not good enough. What I do, put a Mona Lisa smile on. Right? The person's like getting more agitated, and I'm like, oh, this deserves a full smile. Right? And I'm like, oh Lord, forgive me, Lord, I'm failing big time, Lord. I love you, I really do, Lord. I love you so much, but I can't stand that guy right now. And I'm saying that, and I said, so, I know I'm supposed to be dead in my heart, Lord. God, I am. I have this big moments in my life because of this. And so finally, I'm asking the Lord to help me, and I'm failing, because I say, help me, but I'm not listening. Yeah, so you guys ever did that? Lord, help me, but you guys don't listen? Okay, I was having one of those dumb kid moments. And I go, Lord, I really need your help. And I'm enjoying this too much. And what happened? I didn't listen. Okay, I said, Lord, help me, but I didn't listen. So, I did the glance thing. Right? I knew the person was irritated. And so, I could feel that person staring, so I did this. And inside of me, I was screaming like a girl. I was like, wow, oh my God, that's like a punch in the jaw, right? That's a knockout hit. See how bad I am? And I was like, oh. I said, that was so not cool, Lord, but it felt really, really good. So the person stood up and was sitting behind me. And I can only imagine what that person was doing behind me now, like, hey, this was reverse psychology, now it's on me, but I said, Lord, I'm so stupid, forgive me. And so now, how I correct myself is, I always sit in the opposite direction. Because if not, I will tend to push my feelings across the table. So, I want you guys to hear this, is that sometimes we make mistakes. We're not always going to be perfect, but we have to get to that place where our hearts are obedient to the Lord and say, Lord, I failed that time. So help me to come up with a better plan, because that was just too easy for me. Because how many of you guys ever set yourself up to fail? But you guys do it in a way that it's not really, you're not really trying to fail, but you know you're going to fail. Yeah. And then when you fail, you're like, yes. And everybody was like, oh, but you're like, yeah, I wanted to fail. That was my moment. So I went home and I prayed and said, Lord, I'm such a scrub, I enjoyed it too much. And he goes, here's the deal, Julian. Because you enjoy doing that, you really poisoned yourself. Why? Because I wanted to do it again. And again. And again. And the problem with that was I wasn't hurting the person, I was hurting me. Why? My heart was starting to feel a little bit numb to what God was telling me. Right? So now, the next time wasn't so hard. I didn't struggle with the Lord telling me you have another moment. Right? I could hold that back a little bit more, longer before I heard you had another moment. Does that make sense? So obedience is so important because it keeps us where we need to be. The more we are disobedient, the more numb we become to the prompting of the Holy Spirit in our hearts, to the point where we no longer feel the conviction of God's heart. Does that make sense? I read this story, really cool, and it was about Arabian horses. You guys ever watch those movies? Yeah, you're too old or too young to decide. But I like those Arabian type of movies, when they do the horse chariots and all this stuff. But anyway, I read this and it says that Arabian horses are trained in such a way that they probably have the worst or the harshest training out of any other horses. These horses go through some very strict training in the desert. The training requires absolute obedience from these horses, okay? And so what they do is they raise these horses in the desert and they test them constantly to check their obedience. And as they're doing all this, there's one final step that horse needs to pass in order to be called the Arabian horse. And that horse needs to be able to go through this test. They stop giving the horse water for a few days. And they're in the desert and they just let that horse get really thirsty. And then they open the gates. And of course the horses, they run through the water. At the moment they reach the water, they blow the whistle to call the horses back before they reach out and drink the water. And the horses that come back are still just that much away from being approved or stamped as an Arabian horse. If the horse turns around, comes back to the master, they have the horse stand there for a while. And they say that the horse is shaking really bad and he's just foaming because of being so thirsty, and he just did that run and then they want the water and they keep that horse right there. And then after that horse has shown complete obedience, you tell him to have water. Now I was thinking like that, oh, that's kind of cruel, right? It's cruelty to animals, right? They would say. But here's the thing. The trainer knows that in the desert, they need a horse that is trained to be obedient to the master or the rider. Because if not, the rider's life is in danger. And so I thought about this and I was like, wow, we are going through some vigorous training, guys, as Christians. I think one of the hardest things about being a Christian is not so much loving the Lord, but it's being obedient to the things of the Lord. Right? I just shared with you one of my biggest failures last week. I've been a Christian for over 20 years. I failed last week. I suck as a Christian. I need more training. You see, and so here we're told the story is just revealing to us just how important obedience is. And that's why when we come to church, we are commanded to fellowship. Why? We are commanded to remind each other why we serve the God that we serve. Why we tithe. I know this. The Lord don't need our money. He doesn't. But the heart of surrendering to Him is something we work hard for, right? And I don't know about you guys, but I get all kind of plans for my money when I get them. Right? I like go swap meet, I like go buy new plants, you know. I mean, I didn't want to go down here and go buy me some more plants, you know, and I was like, wow, I think I can bring up this much money for buying at least one plant. Yeah? And the Lord is saying, that's all cool, but would you surrender to me first and then do whatever you want to do? But if I surrender to you first, it kind of cut down on how much I can spend. Right? You guys ever had those thoughts? Or is it just me? Because if it's just me, I'm really messed up. Please pray for me. You know? And so, what happens is, okay, Lord, I give to you. That's why we collect tithes at the beginning of service, right? Everybody, if you go to church, you'll find they collect tithes at the end. Why do we collect tithes at the beginning? You should have already had prayed about your tithes. Lord, what am I supposed to give you? You know, and sometimes maybe you gave tithes and then you give offerings, right? An offering is just a blessing to God. Says, Lord, you know, you bless me beyond measure, and so here, I want to give you something. Or maybe it's a love offering to somebody. Maybe God will stir your heart and you give money to somebody else. I don't know. You gotta worry about how God is talking to you. But that heart of obedience and surrendering to God is really something we need training with. Yeah? We worship why? Because we need training with that. We don't need training for turn on the radio, right? We jam the music, yeah? We need training for turn on to the high, 95.5, we listen to Christian music. Right? The TV, yeah, we need training how to put them on the station that get the kind good church movie or wholesome movies. I can tend to like watch some crazy movies. Like, oh, wow, that was crazy. Oh, that was good. Yeah. I like fighting movies. Yeah, the violence one. Wow, that was crazy. Wow, that was stupid. Yeah, so I still struggle in that area. Maybe you guys know. God bless you. Yeah. So training is important. We need obedience, and reading the Word. That takes obedience. How many of you guys love reading? Yeah? I don't get people who love reading. You just don't like to say, then how come you're not reading your Bible, right? Thank you, Miss Shaver. She loves reading, right? A lot of us, we don't mind reading as long as it's not the Bible. Right? Why? Because, oh, boring. You know, if you really look at what God is saying, and you really understand that the Bible is love letters from God, you see it with a whole different attitude. Now, of course, you know, like if you get into Numbers and Leviticus, oh my gosh. Now that thing's a little bit more pushing, I just be honest. You know, but the New Testament, oh, I love that stuff. Yeah? But we read why? We gotta learn the heart of God. We're going to learn what makes the Lord angry, what frustrates Him, what causes Him to turn His face, right? What makes Him smile ear to ear. You know, we need to understand that. In fact, that brings us to our next point, or our next question. Reading the Scripture helps us to realize that we need to praise God. Right? So do we love to give a heartfelt praise to God? Psalms 138:1. I give you thanks, O Lord, with all my heart. I will sing your praises before the gods. That means before anything else. Yeah. Psalms 111:1. Praise the Lord. I will thank the Lord with all my heart as I meet with His godly people. You see, think about this. I read a scripture where the angels love to rejoice in heaven. In fact, I read that the Bible tells us, in fact, that when one person finds their way back to Jesus, to God through Jesus, heaven rejoices. They have a party, right? For that person who was lost and that is now found. How much more, when you think about that, does the Lord love to worship? Think about this. When you go to your auntie's house and you guys hanging out or your uncle's house, and then the old folks, their style. You come out and everybody start playing music. Yeah? And everybody enjoy that. They're worshiping, they enjoy the fellowship, and they're laughing because the songs bring you back memories, and they remember this and they remember that and all that stuff. The Lord loves that when we worship. Why? Because when we worship, we start to remember all the things that He started to do. And then we start to give Him praises and top of praises and top of praises. Lord, that was so funny when you got me through that. I was so dumb, right? And man, you love me even though I wasn't paying attention to you, Lord. Even though I still wanted my way, you still blessed me. And I thank you for being faithful to me. You see, praises reminds us of who God is and how He is. And it causes our hearts to rejoice in such a way that we cannot stop giving Him praises. We cannot stop telling Him how good He is. You ever know? Let's try this. We try this today or sometime this week. Don't pray. Okay? But spend some time just thanking Him for all the things He's done. You will be amazed at how many things you forgot. We take it for granted. We lose sight of how many times He will pull us out of the ditch. How many times we almost got in an accident and we call it coincidence or we call it luck, but He allowed us to stay safe. The car didn't hit us. Whatever it may be. I think about this a lot when it comes to praises. Because you can sing and you ever get tired of singing. I do. Like I work at 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning. I sing like I'm a mental person. You think I was homeless. But I'm singing and rejoicing. And about 45 minutes of singing, I'm like, oh, so what they do up here not easy, So I'm all tired and everything. And so now I change my worship, right? I change my worship to remembering how God took me out of this. And, when God provided a job for me. And even if it was a sucky job, that God still provided, money and income and stuff like that. And all of a sudden I realized God never left me. He always had me. I just stopped remembering. And that is what Easter is about that we just celebrate, right? Remembering. Why we gotta wait for Easter to remember what Jesus Christ did? But we can remember what He's doing and has done recently. And just remember when it comes to Easter what He did for that particular event that allows us to stand in the presence of His holiness. Pretty cool, right? So, I want us to just remember this. Because the bottom line is, are we people who are being obedient to the Lord? Again, it's not perfection, okay? Because if it's perfection, we fail. But don't get me wrong, we need to still try to be the best we can for Jesus. But when we fail, be honest in repenting. And be honest in saying, Lord, I enjoyed that too much. And I know I shouldn't. So, when the next time comes around, can you come get me a little bit stronger? Can you give me the strength to turn away instead of sitting there and going, I think I can win this? You see, some of us are not good losers, right? I'm not one of them. I would rather die than lose. And so, whenever the pride gets in, I am not a good person. I have to win. And stuff like that. And I realized that the heart of Jesus is not about winning. It's really about the condition of our hearts that makes you the winner. Right? And it sounds maybe like, that's sucky, but that's true. So, if you need help with anything, you guys need prayers, we got some prayer corner or, at the bottom to pray. You guys got many churches. Have them pray. Be honest. Be honest about your struggles. Yeah, be honest about your anger. If I wasn't honest about my anger towards God or with my parents or my mom, I don't think I would have been able to heal. but we feel like we're not supposed to be angry, we're not supposed to be hurt. It's okay, it's supposed to. But we just gotta be careful not to keep ourselves in a place where we cannot grow up to be all that God wants us to be. Does that make sense? Let's pray.